Hi guys, this is GSMDome and I'm here with a review of the OnePlus Open, the first foldable phone from OnePlus. And this one here comes with a rather generous screen, which is close to 8 inches, at the same time one of the best hidden creases on the market, and a powerful Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 processor, plus the biggest camera I've seen on a foldable handset, as well as a pretty potent periscope camera and a brand new Sony Lithia sensor. And of course, multitasking via OxygenOS 13.2. Now, as far as the design is concerned, this is a big format foldable phone, not a flip, but rather a typical fold, the Galaxy Z Fold 5 rival. It opens up like this, like a book, and as I said before, the crease is very well hidden. You can actually see it here. However, it's much less visible than on other handsets, perhaps the least visible one I've seen on the market. Now, we don't have a stainless steel frame or titanium, we have aluminum, but a very solid one. The phone is also IPX4 certified, which is splash resistant, and it doesn't have a gap between the two surfaces. We can see here the hinge, which is supposed to last for hundreds of thousands of folds, and we also have glass protection for the back side, and a special eco leather finish in the other color version. This is the green one with glass. There's another one with leather. The thickness is 11.7 millimeters when closed, 5.8 millimeters when opened up, and the whole thing weighs 239 or 245 grams. Now, other thing worth mentioning is that we have here a 7.82 inch screen, and the other panel is a 6.3 incher, the front one, which is a bit comfier and wider in format compared to the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 5 one. There's also a plastic protection for the internal screen and ceramic for the external one. The phone may look pretty and may be solidly built, but the back camera is too bulky and it sits weirdly on a flat surface like this, too much of an angle between it and the surface. Now we go to the other aspects like the display. The outer screen, as I said before, is a 6.3 incher, which we have here. It's of the LTPO3 variety, means that it can drop the refresh rate pretty low to 1 Hz. Super Fluid OLED panel, 1 billion colors, Dolby Vision, Full HD Plus resolution, 120 Hz refresh rate. Wider aspect once again than the Z Fold 5 external screen. Now, if you're going to the other panel, the internal one, this is a bigger one, 7.82 inches, foldable of course. It's a special Flexi Fluid AMOLED with 1 billion colors, Dolby Vision, 120 Hz refresh rate, and at the same time the promise of over 2000 nits of brightness, and it actually delivers. I should probably also mention that there's the resolution of 2268 over 2440 pixels. This is what the experience is like. Let's go full screen. You can also try to zoom and pinch maybe. Right now, as you can see, there are some black borders around it, but they don't bother me that much. There's also the cutout for the selfie camera, also not very bothersome. It's a pretty solid panel. It's bright and crisp. It's got wide view angles, as you can see for yourself, and it's excellent in brightness and deep blacks, as OLEDs usually are. Of course, the external one also has the same attributes, as you can see for yourself here. You can keep the video open, and here it is. Too bad we cannot actually scale it as I wanted to. That's rather odd. Anyway, with the black bars around it, still it's a pretty bright, crisp and vividly colored panel. Now, if you want measurements and details about the performance of the panel, we have them here. So if you go here, let's close this up. You can see that we achieved a very impressive level of let's see here, 1105 lux units, which is huge. Third place phone all time, surpassing rivals like for example the Z Fold 5, Galaxy Z Fold 5 I mean, and Huawei Mate X3, and it's only beaten by the Galaxy Z Flip 5 and Honor Magic 5 Pro. There's also the brightness of the secondary screen, which is number 1, 1000 lux units. In my book, that's very high level. Now, if you want to see what's inside the phone, you can either check out the settings or the IDA app. Anyway, it's a pretty powerful CPU, the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, accompanied by 16 gigs of RAM, which are expandable by up to 12 gigs. There's also half a terabyte of storage. Of course, LPDDR5X RAM and UFS 4.0 storage. There's no lag here and no overheating. And if you're wondering about the throttling and things like that, so you can go here to the photos and then dig up a bit. Go to the albums, go to the screenshots, and the throttle test is this one here. It only drops some performance at the end and loses about 14% of the performance after 15 minutes, which is not bad. So zero problems with the throttling. Now we go further, and of course we have some benchmarks here. Since we're talking about the performance, once again we didn't encounter any lag or any problem, and the games run just fine. In Antutu 10 we're on the 10th place, just above the Google Pixel 8 Pro and the OnePlus Nord 3, and also above the foldable Honor Magic VS. We're below the Galaxy Z Fold 5 and the Nothing Phone 2. When it comes to Geekbench 6 multi-core, here we are above the iPhone 12 Pro Max, Huawei P60 Pro and Asus ROG Phone 7 Ultimate. We're this time below, I should probably mention, the Galaxy Z Fold 5 again and the Xiaomi 13 Pro. When it comes to GPU, the 3D Mark Wildlife Unlimited, we're just above the OnePlus 11 by the way, and the Honor Magic 5 Pro, but once again below the Galaxy Z Fold 5 and Asus ROG Phone 7 Ultimate. The performance of the Galaxy Z Fold 5 is superior to this one, although the average user will not be able to tell the difference because they should behave the same on a day-to-day basis. In benchmark we achieved 30.6 degrees Celsius, once again no overheating, and 29.1 in games, which is actually a very cool temperature. It's a very low temperature for gaming. The battery is a 4800 mAh unit, or technically 4805 mAh. We also have 67 watts wire charging and also a charger in the box. Now let's see what battery life we achieved here. When it comes to the video playback test, we're doing fine, 23 hours and 30 minutes. Okay, so with this 23 hours and 30 minutes, this means that we surpassed the Galaxy Z Fold 5 as well as the Honor Magic VS. We scored below the Galaxy S23 Ultra and the iPhone 15 Pro. I'm a bit let down by the PC Mark result, 11 hours and 10 minutes. I expected better here. I should probably mention that it's above the Honor Magic VS and the Moto Razr 40, but below the Galaxy Z Fold 5 by 14 minutes and below the Huawei Mate X3. Not very impressed by the charge as well, 1 hour and 27 minutes, and after 15 minutes you're at 23%, after half an hour 42%. Expected slightly more. The speakers are here, there's 4 of them, and they're Dolby tuned, Dolby Atmos, 2 at the top side, 2 at the bottom, this one and this one, and they sound something like this. Okay, so lots of bass and a really punchy sound, very crisp and very clear. No objections here, you won't cover the speakers, there will be no distortion. Things will be very satisfying, including in movies and games. So we also have tests regarding that. So volume power here with a decibel meter, 82.4 decibels at the top speaker with an acoustic sample and an impressive 86.6 decibels at the bottom. With this value, we surpassed the Galaxy Z Fold 5 and the Honor Magic VS, staying below the Galaxy Z Fold 2 and the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra. When it comes to gaming, I'm a bit underwhelmed by the 88.6 decibels. We require 100 here to be relevant. It's above the Galaxy Z Fold 5 somehow and below the Honor Magic VS plus the Huawei Mate X3. Now, when it comes to the cameras, we have a lot to talk about, so let's go here and start discussing them. First of all, the inner selfie camera is this one here, is a 20 megapixel shooter. The outer selfie camera is included here, it's embedded in the top part of the screen, and this one is a 32 megapixel shooter. Both have 4K capture, and the first one has f2.2 aperture and the second one f2.4. Now we go to the back side, there's a lot to talk about. There's Hasselblad optics taking care of the colors. There's a periscope camera here. It's actually a 64 megapixel camera, telephoto, with optical image stabilization, 3x optical zoom, however a special 6x in sensor zoom and the promise of up to 120x magnification in total. The main camera is a special one, 48 megapixel with a Sony Lithia sensor, which is a dual stacked sensor, optical image stabilization, PDAF and 1.7 aperture. Multi-directional autofocus as well. Finally, 48 megapixel ultra-wide camera with autofocus for your macro needs and LED flash, which should be right here at the top side. An extra sensor here, my guess is that it's probably for depth measurement or bokeh or maybe a color sensor. Now, if you want to see some of the shots we've taken, we have quite a few. A colleague of mine took them all, I have to thank him. And we even have shots of the moon, so that's pretty impressive. Zoomed shots of the moon. Okay, considerations about the shots taken during the day. Well, we have quite a few and there's a lot to talk about. I particularly enjoyed testing out the zoom that the handset can offer because it's very impressive. And also the texture of the object is impressive. By the way, it's very hard to tell. Nice way of catching a plane with a zoom. You'll be impressed up to 10x when it comes to zoom. Otherwise, after that, you're going to see some noise. Okay, so not much of a difference between the main camera and the ultra-wide one. Colors will not change. There's no deformation here. The reds are pleasant. and also the zoom camera keeps the colors in check. There's not much loss of detail when you're zooming in, that's what I noticed, and the vegetation is pretty well rendered. If I were to say something, is that the images are, more saturated than the iPhones, less saturated than the Samsungs. Excellent selfie photos, excellent texture of the face, and a lot of details for the face. This is a Pro XDR shot, and a lot of detail into the eye and the beard, and of course the clothes. Even with the sun in front of us, we had zero problems when it came to these photographs. Some problems happen when you try to take very close close-ups, macros, or even regular close-ups, but some results, as you'll see later on, are truly impressive. These are the colors of the fall, and as you can see, the Hasselblad thing is really starting to matter. I think that the quality of the shots here is somewhere between OnePlus 11 and Galaxy S23 Ultra. That's the level we're at, and of course some close-ups are very impressive, but they take some work and some missed shots. This one is particularly fine as far as the details are concerned. Okay, so excellent texture of the roses and color. This camera tends to not fail when it comes to the color calibration, and look at the sky here. It's very rare to see such a hue, and especially with the sun in front of us. So yeah, color is important here, and it's one of the achievements of the phone, of course, as well as the zoom, as you can see for yourself. It actually feels a bit like the Pixel 7 Pro from last year. I'm equally as impressed by it as I was impressed by the Pixel 7 Pro. That's the vibe I'm getting here, and that's the comparison. So color is between the latest iPhone and between the latest Samsung. The zoom is at the Pixel 7 Pro level, and the texture is excellent for any flagship out there. So no complaints when it comes to the main camera and the ultra wide and the telephoto during the day. Now during the night, of course, we took some moon shots, but as usual, there's a template here and AI filling in the blanks. I mean, it's pretty impressive and all, but I think there are some flagships on the market that can do better. For a foldable, it's still probably one of the best moon shots you can take, once again, on a foldable. These are dark photos in a dark environment, with the night mode slightly lighting it up, but in general, I was happy by the quantity of light captured by the camera. Things are pretty clear and crisp, although there are some drawbacks here and there, like for example the shadows, which are better represented on a Samsung phone or a Huawei phone. For a OnePlus, this is one of the better ones. OnePlus phones aren't usually particularly good at night. Well, this one is. I remember the 11 and the 10 not impressing me. This one is actually pretty solid. Okay, so these have been the photos. Let's talk about the videos now. Okay, let's see some videos taken with this handset. We have 24 of them, quite a few, and this includes selfie videos, stabilization tests, and so much more. Okay, so let's take them one by one. As you can see for yourself, stabilization is excellent here, so if you're walking and filming, you'll be very satisfied with the result. The images are pretty crisp, and you won't notice any sort of vibration of the image. Okay, now we go further. We also have a test or two regarding this, the focus abilities of the phone, focusing on an object and then on the background, happens like a charm, very fast and in an efficient manner. Okay, as far as the colors are concerned, I'm not very convinced. I was actually more impressed by the colors of the photos rather than the videos. These ones are a bit too intense and not very well calibrated, not as well as the photo ones. The selfies are fine, the selfie videos like this one here, good enough for vlogging, but this I expected. It's to be expected from any major flagship on the market. So I spoke of colors. They may seem okay on the screen here, but on a larger display on a monitor, I mean, they're a bit too intense for my liking and too saturated. So yeah, the colors of the photos were more satisfying. I've seen this happen before on OnePlus handsets, and it's a trait that they possess. I guess it also probably depends on the screen you're watching and its abilities of, I don't know, HDR or color palette, or maybe having an OLED or LCD. Okay, this is a daytime video capture. We also have a nighttime video capture, and I'm actually more underwhelmed by this one here. There are moments when it looks a bit like a mid-range phone, to be honest. It's a bit noisy and a bit moved. Stabilization is fine, I mean, but if you're panning fast, there will be some ghosting here and there. So let's see if we can show that. This is definitely a dark video in a darker area, and the street lights are a bit overblown, and the image is a bit framey and choppy for some reason. So some high mid-range vibes. I mean, it's not totally bad, but I expected slightly more from a 1,800 euro phone. Okay, so we're done with the nighttime and we're done with the videos. Time to discuss the connectivity. The handset obviously provides 5G connectivity. It also comes with Wi-Fi 7 and the promise of tri-band Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 5.3, GPS dual band, NFC, and even infrared made the cut. Here at the top side, you can control your TV set with it. There's a USB-C 3.1 at the bottom, and we also did a speed test, and no, not this one, this is the disk test. So we have it here. When it comes to Wi-Fi, we achieved the 594 megapersecond in download and 590 megapersecond in upload as a top value. 5G is also pretty fast on the handset, and the calls are pretty loud and clear. As far as Android is concerned, I felt I showed you too much during the unboxing because I don't have much left to show you. Multitasking happens like this with the recents, but there's also another level of multitasking. So if you have a Chrome open, for example, and you want to open another app, like say YouTube, you can do this. Keep it pressed. Hopefully better than me. Split the screen like this. So you can keep browsing and watching a video at the same time. And you can also add a third app if you want to. For example, maybe something like, let's find an app that should work here. The notes maybe? Okay, so it's placed here and you can alternate between them either like this by passing among them, or you can do a 4-finger swipe and have them all handy and have the screen split in 3 without a problem, so you can save your video, watch it, and write some notes and browse on a website. When you're done, you're back to the regular format. You can also transfer files with drag and drop between them, and as you can see for yourself here, we have a taskbar at the bottom. You're inside an app, the taskbar becomes smaller, and it's easy to access the recents or the most popular apps, or those that are opened, and even there are pairs of apps to make multitasking more easily. The thing I did with the 4-finger pinch is the OnePlus Canvas and the ability to split the screen for 3 apps at the same time. Fingerprint scanner is here in the power button. It's quite fast and efficient and snappy. Here we have the news feed, and I'm using the buttons here, the virtual buttons. You can also opt for swipes. This is the quick settings area and the notification area, so things are pretty straightforward, not much to write about or to talk about here. There's connectivity here, the main screen options, you got your flexible window, you got your taskbar, split view, screen switching. So yes, you can use the cover screen for a variety of purposes. Well, basically the camera is the most important of them all. You can use it to take selfies with the main camera. You can see here that we have a bunch of apps available as sidebar shortcuts, display size, dual windows. Of course, you can split the screen in 2. There's the security and privacy section, set a screen lock, and of course, customization via always on display. Smart sidebar, kit space, and Zen space. Speaking of Zen space, there are 2 relaxation apps here, not one. There's Zen space and also O Relax. Gamers will get their own share of games with the performance modes. These are typical Oppo features borrowed by OnePlus, performance mode, tweaks and tunings for the big gamers out there. That's pretty much it as far as the software is concerned, and the big news is that you get 4 years of Android updates, 4 versions of Android updates. Now, a bit more about the experience on the external screen. It's like this, just in case you want to see it on the smaller panel as we prepare for the verdict of the review. Now the handset here on the Pro side has obviously the performance, a pretty solidly built body. The zoom actually impressed me a lot for a foldable. I should also say that the speakers are quality ones. We have bright screens on board, actually some of the brightest on the market. I would say that the video playback time is sufficient for the battery life. Excellent selfies, nice canvas mode for multitasking, and the best hidden crease on the market. Nice colors when it comes to photos, and the 4 years of Android updates are always a big plus if you're going for, well, a device that should be usable in a bunch of years still. Okay, so those are the pros. On the cons, the price is pretty high. There's no stylus support and no stylus bundled. The nighttime videos are not very impressive, and the video capture feels not on par with the photo capture color-wise. The camera module protrudes too much. Continuous battery life is not very impressive, and the close-ups were not to my liking. We don't have much of a flex mode here, so if you're wondering about the flex mode, there's something to see in YouTube maybe, and maybe something to see in the camera. So if you do this, you see that the flex mode exists. But aside from this and YouTube, not many other apps have it. Okay, so when everything's said and done, the price is too high. That's the core. Galaxy Z Fold 5 is better because it has a stylus and a better hidden punch hole camera. That's pretty much it, and also higher performance. This one has better cameras than the Galaxy Z Fold 5 for sure. At the same time, the OS is more satisfying than a Huawei or Honor foldable phone. So if you're going to choose this, you're going to choose it because of the operating system and the zoom. And of course the crease, if it bothers you. Otherwise, if you want higher performance, more productivity, and a stylus, Z Fold 5 is also cheaper nowadays, by about a couple of hundreds of dollars, which is no small feat. So choose the OS or choose with your wallet if you want OnePlus Open or Galaxy Z Fold 5. But the zoom and camera are definitely on this side. So that's it from us. This has been the review of the OnePlus Open, the first OnePlus foldable phone, and by the way, a rebranding of the Oppo Find N3. Goodbye.